Ladies and gentlemen, judges, Sila Advisory Board members, and Sila delegates and esteemed guests, marhaban bikum. Well, I welcome you on behalf of the NYUAD Institute and Sila Abu Dhabi 2014. My name is Mooni San, and I have the great honor and pleasure of being the director of the 3rd annual Sila Abu Dhabi Conference. Back in 2012, Sila was the first inter-university conference that brought together university students from all across Abu Dhabi. This year, we are honored to have delegates from NYU Abu Dhabi, Masdar University, Abu Dhabi University, Higher Colleges of Technology, Khalifa University, Petroleum Institute, Abu Dhabi University, and Al Hosn University. The projects you will see today have been conceived, criticized, and revised in the last 36 hours, developed through the assistance of the Sila Advisory Board. Here in Sila Connection, our philosophy is that we must solve global issues by going local. That if we are going to start addressing the world's most pressing issues, we must do so here in Abu Dhabi, and we can do so by empowering the youth who are deeply invested in shaping the city that we live in. The topic of this year's Sila Abu Dhabi Conference is Green Schools, defined by the Center of Green Schools as a school that creates a healthy environment that is conducive to learning while saving money, energy, and resources. We are honored to have the American Community School as our model target school for this year, in which the winning solution of Sila Abu Dhabi will be implemented in the course of the remaining school year. I am moved by the coming together of Sila and ACS, united through the same vision of creating green schools. And I'm honored to have worked with such passionate individuals who have surpassed all my expectations with their creativity and dedication to their projects. Tonight's presentation is not only for the judges to deliberate the winning team of this year's Sila Abu Dhabi 2014 that will receive a grant of $5,000 to implement the project. Tonight's presentation is also a space for all of us to be reminded of the passion of our youth to create sustainable change in our community, the interactive power amongst our universities, to be inspired and to be humbled by the individuals who strive to create change in our communities. The connections and friendships built in the course of the last 2 days through this special space that we have created together will last for generations. We in the Sila Organizing Board wish to specially thank the Institute, the Advisory Board members, the delegates, and the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. To begin the evening, I will invite onto stage Jude Shikem, my Deputy Director, to help to MC the presentations. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. Welcome. I'm very excited to finally see all our delegates' combined efforts finally bear fruit to these innovative solutions that they're about to present to you. I want to let you know that every presentation is supposed to last 12 minutes and would kindly like to remind you to turn off your phones and please be silent during the presentations so that we don't disturb them. The first team to come up will be composed of the following delegates: Jagan, Dina, Alexander, and Reem.
Green restrooms, reimagining your toilet experience. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Before we begin, I would like to assure every one of you in the audience that when you leave this hall, you will never potty the same way again. The first toilet was invented 200 years ago. This is how people used to potty. And today, this is how we potty, with the same toilet bowl. So what's the problem of using old technology in a modern world? It's a very simple answer. It's a one-word answer: wastage. Wastage of our natural resources. We like to think of ourselves as superheroes, toilet superheroes. So what we did is we went to ACS, the American Community School in Abu Dhabi. We saw their toilets, we analyzed the problems with their toilets, and we want to attempt to try to solve those problems. If each student in ACS were to use the toilet once and flush it once a day, they'll be using 3.5 gallons of water. Multiply that by 1,000 students, we have 3,500 gallons of water a day and 2 million gallons of water a year, which is 1/10 the amount of water consumed by American citizens in one whole year.
So it got us thinking, how can we solve that problem? We wanted to find a model toilet inside the ACS, which we can use to show to the world how toilets should be done in schools. We wanted to imagine a solution which is clean, sustainable, and water efficient. At the same time, should be comfortable, attractive, just awesome to use, and it should be educational for the children to show them how their daily actions impact the environment around them.
It's pretty easy. So here's how we do it. First, we save water. Why flush when you don't have to? Waterless urinals. Ladies and gentlemen, waterless urinals do not require water to flush. When the urine goes in, it is diverted through a valve. The urine goes out. It is used as fertilizer for plants, diverted through a pipe. Whereas there's a layer of oil, vegetative in nature, that prevents odor from coming out. That's such a simple solution to stop flushing and save water. Solution number 2, low flush toilets. When we first went to ACS, we realized that their toilets was built basically between 10 to 20 years ago, on average. And these toilets basically consume about 6 to 7 gallons of water per flush in most cases. What if we were to remove these toilet bowls in that one model toilet that we're talking about? So if we were to remove those 4 toilet bowls from the toilets and implement a new low flush toilet at a low cost, we could potentially save 4.5 gallons of water per flush. And note that this is the only major piece of construction that we will be doing, taking out toilet bowls and putting new ones. These tiny little things just cost 5 dirhams. But what they do is that when you turn on your tap, it reduces the amount of water that comes out by mixing the water with air, thereby creating the same pressure, which allows you to have the same comfortable experience, but reduces water wastage. Electronic bidets. We saw the amount of toilet paper that was being used in ACS, and we thought to ourselves, it's impossible to get rid of toilet paper. But what if we offer an alternative solution? So we thought we could complement this toilet paper usage with electronic bidets. This bidet over here is a toilet seat cover and a toilet bidet in one, 2 in 1. So what it does is it sprays water, it dries, and does everything using 75% less water than a normal hose would. So this not only saves water, but it saves toilet paper as well. That's real superpower right there. We also plan to reuse water. When you wash your hands in a basin, what happens to the water? It just gets drained out and goes right into your water treatment system. But what if we were to retain that water that you wash your hands with? What if we were to channel it through a filter, a very simple filter that we're going to make with the kids, made out of sand, gravel, and everything nice that you learn in science in elementary or middle school? That water is going to be reused and channeled out to the green fields in ACS, and it's going to be used to water their field.
So let's help the kids become better world citizens and better environmentalists so that they can have a footprint and a step in what we're doing. Our initiative over here is Let's Go Green. It's an initiative where we allow the students actually to have their hands on in the footprints that we are, by solving this problem, we're allowing students to have an enjoyable experience and a comfortable experience through that. By they will be getting their own, making their own stickers during art classes and sticking that into the bathroom wall, so that this will be a much more of a productive outcome, so that, for example, close the tap water or be a hero and switch the lights off. And these are small sentences, but they're targeted toward them. So there's a message behind these stickers. As well as there is also, let's allow the students to get their own plants back from their homes, their favorite plants, and put them back into the bathroom. So this can add more beautifulness to the bathroom in some way and make it just look more green. It's also a sticky situation, just as I said, that we're allowing the kids in art classes to make their own stickers and sticking it with a message out there. So these simple messages, they're just very a small or a sentence or something, but they're very targeted toward them, and they can cause a change in terms of awareness. There will also, we are thinking of having the QR codes in these stickers that the students will be making, so that this will take them directly to the Green School website that the American Community School is working on, and get updated with news or whatever any information is there.
So you may ask, how do we implement this? Where our plan is not to pay anyone to do this, but to do it ourselves. We are all engineers from very relevant fields, so we can engage this school and we can engage our colleagues to actually work on implementation of this on our own.
Okay, so as some of you, while they have heard our initiatives or what we plan to do, they might think of this as a costly thing, but actually it's not really costly, and this doesn't cost as much, and we can do this by our own knowledge and experience that we have. So over here you see a table that sums up the budget and the costs that that we will be getting funded for a project if it was to be accepted. So as my colleague over here has mentioned, that there will be waterless urinals, electronic Bidets, and there will be aerators, there will be also low flush toilets, and there will be also filters that is made by the students. The number of the units needed is depending on the bathroom that we're targeting. We're only targeting one bathroom in the school to make this as a model for other schools so that they can see this. So the costs per unit are not really expensive. As you can see, the costs over here, they're very in hand, and it's a very doable thing. And the total cost for this entire thing would approximately cost $3,650. And if we were to take this amount and divide it by 2, we would get approximately $1,600, which is the cost for 1 unit for a bathroom, with the everything mentioned over here. So this is very doable. This is something that is very doable, and it will be a model for other students to take.
So basically the reason why we divided it by 2 is because this model bathroom is both for males and females. So if anybody wanted to copy it, it will only cost half of it for a male or female restroom as a whole. And I would like to stress again that we're going to do this by ourselves, by joining hands with the engineering societies, for example, and the engineers for social impact in NYUAD and similar societies in other universities that we come from to implement this project. So we're not going to get people to construct things, we're going to do it ourselves. So now let's talk a little bit about projections. When we talk about funding a project, the most important thing would be the cost savings in the future. So what we initially tried to do is that we tried to source for the exact water meter readings, we tried to source for the exact water bills and things like that. But we realized that ACS is still in the midst of working very hard towards getting this information for us. So what we did for the time being is that we came up with our own projections. What you guys are seeing on the left-hand side of this screen is basically the water tariff rates that has been released by the Abu Dhabi Water Authority. So what we did is we made some simple calculations, some simple assumptions for that one toilet, how much water is going to be used in one day by one student, how many 100 gallons of water. So based on those calculations, before implementing our system and after implementing our system, you can note the big difference in the price. We have been able to cut down the cost, the running cost of this restroom by 50%. Of course, this is merely a projection, which is yet to be guaranteed or proven since we do not have accurate information, but 50% is a pretty good deal.
So we want to open source our solution. We want other schools to copy us. So we will make how-tos and guidelines on everybody. How can they make toilets cut their costs? How can they make them educational? And how can they make them nice and easy to use?
So making toilets is a journey, not a one-time thing. So ladies and gentlemen, we have shown you the toilet for the 21st century. It's hip, it's cool, it works. So let's party like it's 2099. Thank you.
Okay, so introducing the second team. Our second team is made up of the following delegates: Dana, Aisha, Sara, Danya. Let's welcome them on stage.
Good evening, everyone. So today's topic is about the Eco Hub. My name is Aisha Isa, and those are my team members, Dana, Dina, and Sarah. In this presentation outline, we're going to talk about our vision, the project overview, inside what we have inside the Eco Hub, the project timeline, our suggestions, project costs, and the conclusion. So our project is about a model classroom where students from different age, they can contribute in an eco-friendly environment. So we are targeting the minds and the behavior. In a way, we're going to combine the implementation with the awareness. The classroom is going to be energy efficient. We're going to install a hybrid split AC conditioner that is powered by solar panels. And in this classroom, we're going to implement projects. These projects are it's either recycled or reused. And we're going to do other projects that are solving the global environmental problems.
Is this on? Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. Thank you, Aisha. So basically our model classroom, or the project that we're presenting here, is consistent of 3 parts. One is the hybrid split AC, which is a major part, and then there's the solar panels, and then we have the interactive environment, which includes the students. Let's start with the overall model of the classroom. So here we try to model it from the outside. As you can see, the hybrid solar split AC that we're using, the main reason that we chose this one is because we wanted to have, because the ACs, according to the data sheet that were provided by the ACS schools, they consumed a lot of power. So we targeted the ACs by the solar panels. So we will be producing our own energy, and the AC will be running on it. But the type of AC that we're using here, it basically uses 80%, 80% of the power is taken from the solar panels. And then the remaining will be taken from a basic AC outlet that's in the room. And then you can see that we're targeting here on environmental green somehow activities. So we have planting activities and all that my colleagues will emphasize on more later on. So moving on, more about the solar panel powered AC. You can see here that it uses ozone-friendly refrigerants, which serves our purpose. And we have local suppliers and international suppliers as well. And it is also within our budget, which we will talk about the cost later on more. Okay. So inside the room itself, what is making this room different? First of all, we're targeting energy savings. So the light bulbs that we're using will be saving energy. That's by using less energy. And then as we mentioned, the solar panels. Other than using them for the AC itself, the solar panels will be used for some other activities inside the room, like charging or like the data show and so on, showing a movie to the kids and so on. And then, in addition to all that, this hub or this classroom will have several rules. And these rules are basically set to teach the kids responsibility because, as we said, we're targeting their behavior. So, for instance, let's say that each classroom is allowed to use this hub for once a week. And then once they're using it, each student will have a responsibility in this room. Like one student is responsible for watering the plants. And then the other student is responsible for switching on and off the lights. So this is how we will change their behavior and somehow give them a sense of responsibility on what is eco-friendly and what is energy efficiency. And then moving on, we have the timeline of the project.
So the idea is to create this classroom where the students can feel that they're in a, like they can feel what's it like to live in an eco-friendly community. So everything in this room should be eco-friendly. Now we'll start by installing, like Sarah said, we're going to install the AC, and then we're going to install the solar panels. We're going to get experts to do that. And after that, we want the students to be more involved. So we want to, the furniture that's going to be inside the room is going to be made of wood scraps, which we're getting from factories. This way we reuse materials. Now we learned that it's pretty easy and doable to just to make furniture out of wood scraps. All we need to do is to get an expert. We're going to hold a workshop, and we're going to collect student volunteers to apply this method. And then we're going to have a recycling workshop. In the recycling workshop, we're going to explain simple recycling methods where the student volunteers, of course, will create the material we're going to use as bulletins. So the room will have furniture that's made of reused material and bulletin boards that are made of recycled paper. So they created the environment for them to work. Now, for the second month, this is for the second month, of course. For the third month, we're going to start with the project selections. We want to involve students from different group ages. We'll start from elementary school because they're the youngest. They're the ones we're going to target their minds, to change their behaviors. So we're going to talk to science teachers. We're going to ask them if they can sacrifice one class a week to just go to the lab, perform experiments, do little projects. We have project suggestions, but we want to hear from them too. The project selection and the project timelines will be assigned when we meet with them. And then we're going to plan an end-of-year exhibition. This way we will target the parents. We will involve the community. The school already has an eco club, and the eco club, they're going to be working with us throughout the year so that we can have the exhibition at the end of the year to show the community what's it like to have an eco-friendly community inside the school. And this model classroom, it can be in one of the buildings because it can be in the middle school building, and then we can have afternoon activities where students from the others, from primary and from high school can come and attend activities. Now, our suggestions, we have elementary and kindergarten projects such as egg carton plants, disc plate hangers, DIY jute rope vases, and the pictures show our suggestions. So they're pretty simple projects, they're not costly, and they make children more interested in the environment. Next, we have the middle and high school project suggestions. Now, one of the ideas is to make them think of the environment in their career paths, think of sustainable energy, think of what they can do, what more advanced projects they can do. They can do research. They can learn to use simple devices that are not costly. We can hold workshops, seminars, teaching them how to use these devices. And they can perform experiments inside this room, which would show the effect of pollution on the environment and several other stuff. Everything will be done in this room.
Now, speaking about the costs, basically the split solar AC that we're going to use is going to cost maximum about 7,000 dirhams. And then the solar panels, which would power the AC's 80% solar power, would be around 2,000 dirhams, and the installation fees would be about 1,000 dirhams. So basically, the AC would cost around 10,000 dirhams, which would leave us with around 8,000 dirhams. This could be used for the project implementations, the mini projects we talked about, to include the children. Conclusion of the whole project. The idea is to create an environment where children of all ages, children groups, can come up with innovative projects about environmentally friendly, cautious projects, and this would include the community which would have a large-scale impact rather than just a school, and it would be on community base. Leadership, basically, we would train the teachers, for example, to hold workshops, small-scale workshops where recycling, and then the kids can like move on and they could be the leaders of such projects. Long-term effects, as I said before, the Eco School Club can hold fundraising projects which would sustain the project and make it longevity. Feasibility, as I've demonstrated previously, it's pretty feasible. The main cost would be the AC, but the other costs of the projects would like hold on due to the fundraising projects. You want to talk about innovation?
Now, this idea, you can the innovation in our idea. Well, we can say that this room is the only room which is like we don't have these rooms in schools where all we focus on is the environment, and it's part of their curriculum. We're going to make it part of their daily lives, so they can think about the environment not just when they take the environment chapter in their science books, but they will think about it throughout the year. They will be involved. They will be more involved in it, and they would have the idea: what's it like to live in a community that focuses so much on the environment, that helps the environment, and that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this a classroom that students will use?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it will just be the one classroom? So it will, how will other students use it?
It's basically to hold extracurricular activities after school, like art exhibitions, for example, something that
Because we're aware that we can't force change in the school system itself. So we thought that for starters, we can use this room as a destination for awareness for the students. You could visit it as during exhibitions or during workshops even.
What's the problem that you're trying to tackle?
The problem we're trying to tackle is that we're trying to change behavior and the way they think. We're trying to introduce the students to that there is something smart and energy efficient at the same time. And learning that at a young age can make a huge difference.
It's
in our
basically
opinion.
awareness and to make a model classroom that perhaps the school can look to when it's building its new campus. It could be the future of different schools in the UAE.
Did you measure or assess any awareness of the current students at ACS?
There's an eco club right now, but it's basically the students who are interested in joining the eco club. This way, if any experiments they want to perform, if they go to this room more often, they're going to be more exposed to environment issues. And the other aspect is that in a lot of places, changes happen, but people are not aware of this change. We want them to be aware of this change, so they are going to spend so much time in the room that is energy efficient. Yeah.
I was going to ask if you have any data on the savings using the solar panels or and the split AC and the lighting to substantiate this benefit.
Yeah, basically the AC is 80% powered by the solar panels. So
Right. But have you costed out what the benefit is? I mean, I don't know how much of the school's energy is consumed by AC. I didn't know if you just had any data.
We have the data sheets. Do you have
That's
the data
okay.
sheets?
When we went, when Sarah went to the school, she told her that the biggest problem they have is
Actually, we have a data
the
sheet
AC.
including the numbers, but unfortunately, we didn't include it in the slides right now. But we noticed that the AC consumes a lot, especially that during summer here, it's on all the
It's
time.
on all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, summer here is really hot.
it is basically the biggest problem, or one of the big problems in
And
ACS.
we can't get rid of ACs because in this weather,
They're essential
it's
here.
essential, yes.
Okay, so thank you so much. To introduce our third team, delegates Davis, Janatul Firdos, and Madia.
There are very practical solutions for the American Community School to use less energy and save money. Solutions such as window tinting, solar ventilation, and reflective roof paint would make the American Community School more green because the school would not have to use as much energy to cool classrooms. But any consulting company could come up with these solutions. They're not innovative. With this in mind, we decided to focus our project on the community of the American Community School. Our idea is not to green the facilities at the American Community School, it is to green the student body. We have developed a comprehensive system that will engage every student in the student body. In the words of the late Sheikh Zayed, a country's greatest investment lies in building generations of educated and knowledgeable youth. The students in the school are going to become the citizens of the future. And if we can instill these students with green consumption habits, then we are ultimately creating more environmentally aware students. In our proposal, we will divide the student body into 3 groups: the lower school, the middle school, and the upper school. And each group will have its own workshop at the start of each semester and its own reward at the end of each semester. Workshops are designed to focus on one specific environmental problem and will be interactive and engaging. But we want the students to remember what we're teaching them in the workshops and put that into practice. So to accomplish that, that's where the reward system comes in. Each group, the lower, middle school, and upper school, will have its own reward, and the rewards will be dependent upon the implementation of the ideas taught in the workshop. Through this process, students will be excited and engaged in implementing green habits into their daily routine, and ultimately, we will fundamentally alter the way the student body treats the environment. So, when we were just trying to plan our first workshop, we actually talked to the students that came from ACS, and they mentioned that one of their biggest problems was recycling. They currently have recycling bins set up all around campus, but there's no participation. They told me that they go around every day after class, and they go to empty their recycling bins and quantify how much they're recycling, but they're very disappointed by the amount of participation. They say usually they get 3 or 4 water bottles per recycling bin, even though this is a school with 1,000 students, so they should be getting a lot more participation than that. So with that in mind, we've implemented in our system in order to make students want to recycle more. So part of our budget will go towards purchasing industrial scales, and after the workshop portion of our system, we, with the help of the ACS Green Club, will weigh the amount of material recycled by the students, and the weight of the recycled material will be used in different ways among the 3 divisions of students. So with that in mind, we're now going to run through each of the 3 groups, lower, middle, and upper school, and show you how this idea would be put into practice.
Okay, about lower school. So we're going to be introducing fun ways for them to get to know about recycling, such as through songs. We're going to have videos and so on and so forth, like games. We're going to use this information that we teach them, and they're going to have recycling bins in the room. They're going to have like one for plastic, one for paper, and one for cans, and they're also going to have a bin for materials that they'll use for art, to create artwork. So what they're going to actually do in the action part is they're gonna do artwork.
So the idea is we're going to teach them the stuff in the workshop, and then we're going to actually track their process to make sure that they're using what we taught them in the workshop in their day-to-day activities. So for example, any waste that could potentially be repurposed for artwork, for arts and crafts time, we'll put it in a bin, and for the future, all of their arts and crafts will be based on that material that they've repurposed. Also, we're going to be distributing water bottles during the workshop, and the teachers can track their progress, make sure they're bringing these water bottles every day instead of using the plastic water bottles, an activity like that. And then if they...
So the reward they get at the end of the year is a field day, where they get to play games and everything in the field.
Right, so the ACS students said that that's one of the highlights of the elementary school. They said the students love that field day. They look forward to it every year. They tell their parents about it. They're excited about it. So we decided to give them another field day as a reward for implementing the ideas we taught them in the workshop. So that's it for the lower school. And now moving on to the middle school.
Okay. So for the middle school, we're going to emphasize more on recycling, like giving them workshops to make them learn more about the fate of the materials they use and they waste. And it's in this workshop, they're gonna make some models for example, any sculptures or make any models for any science class. For example, they're going to make any models for molecules or any atoms for using it in the science class or in their chemistry class. And so they can reduce the amount of waste. And at the end of the workshop, like at the end of every month, we are going to weigh the amount of waste that's going to produce. And I mean,
It's being recycled.
yeah, I mean that's being recycled, and it's gonna. And the winning team, there will be a winning team between grade 6 to 8, and the winning team is going to get free donuts from the ACS green team.
Yeah, we talked to the green team and asked what would be an effective motivator, and they said donuts. And I know when I was in middle school, that would certainly motivate me. So, okay, now moving on to the high school. The high school workshop is going to be a little more comprehensive because these are older students. So we can teach them more about how recycling is currently managed in Abu Dhabi, and we can kind of educate them more on the actual impacts of recycling and how they can do their part to help the environment. And additionally, the ACS students, so their recycling bins currently aren't very attractive, and therefore students kind of just walk past them or will just throw it in the trash can because it's easier. So as part of the workshop, we could potentially design recycling bins, and the winning design we could fund with our money. And then as far as the reward goes, there's a pre-existing feature in ACS called class points, and basically what these are just each class, so 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, accumulates class points throughout the year for things like good behavior or responsibility and stuff like that. And then at the end of the year, these are actually redeemed for pretty big prizes, such as like a week at the beach and stuff like that. And the ACS students said that all of the students in high school they're really competitive when it comes to class points. So we're going to take this pre-existing system of class points and implement it into our motivation for the high school students. So using the scales, we're going to track which class is recycling the most material at the end of each week, and at the end of the semester, tally that up, and whichever class has recycled the most will be rewarded with a large amount of class points, like enough class points to make them excited about the initiative and engaged. So in conclusion, our primary focus was not to save money for the school. We can provide the school with suggestions to cut energy costs, like I mentioned before, but if the American Community School is truly concerned about saving money, then they would have hired an energy consultant to come in, and they already would have done these solutions. We want to fundamentally alter the way the students of the American Community School view the environment. So any teacher could present the students with facts about climate change or tell them how to reduce their carbon footprint. But in order to permanently alter students' behavior, the students have to consciously choose to implement what they learn. So through our system, we believe that we've designed a way that students will want to implement what they're learning. And finally, our system is not a one-time thing. My team members and I are planning on being heavily involved in the planning and administration of the first workshop, alongside the members of the American Community Schools Green Club. But for the first implementation of our model, we will purchase the scales, and we will fund or buy the materials necessary for the workshops, and also we'll purchase the rewards for the groups. But with our guidance, hopefully we will share our vision with the Green Club members so that they can take over our system and continue to manage it in the future every semester indefinitely. And each session will target a different environmental issue, and so they can continue to do this indefinitely, really. So after the first session, it'll be up to them to select topics and up to them to purchase the rewards. And we did ask them, and they do receive funding from their school, so they could potentially use part of that funding to continue our program. And finally, in conclusion, we believe that we've effectively designed a way to make the entire student body and even future students of the American Community School more environmentally conscious. And through the implementation of our system, we are not only saving the school money and using less sources, but we are producing citizens that will carry what we've learned through our workshops with them for the rest of their lives.
So our aim is to create green students, not green schools.
Thank you.
So I'm a little bit curious. You're mentioning these workshops throughout. Are these things that are coming on top of their classes, or is something you're looking to build into the curriculum?
Right, so these are actually going to be kind of once a semester, ideally at the start of the semester, whether it's a part of their orientation or something in the fall, or maybe right after break in the winter. And so these workshops will just target one specific environmental issue, like we said, recycling for the first one, ideally. And then it'll just be a one-time thing. But then in order to make the kids remember what we taught them in that workshop, their reward is dependent upon them implementing the methods that we taught them.
Do any of you know what happens with the material that you recycle in Abu Dhabi? Do you guys know what happens with the material that is put in these bins?
They're ending up in the landfills.
So why did you focus on recycling?
Because this is the only thing that the ACS students are talking about, that it's not being emphasized more about. Like the students are there, and the budget is there to implement any new project or something. But the students are not aware of this, so it's not in the mentality of the students that to accept any change. So we're gonna continue with the recycling first.
Do we have time? So what I'm wondering about is how you collected information. You said you met with the green team. Did you meet with teachers or parents or administrators or just the students? And what grade were those students in?
Yes, ma'am. We actually met with the administration board of the green team. So they were here this afternoon, and we asked them the questions such as, what do you think would be a good initiative for the first project? What would motivate the students? Questions like that.
I think it's wonderful that you spoke to the school and did your own personal research.
I just have a question about the budget. Again, where's the money being spent for the rewards, or
right,
and making these trash collection recycling things?
So we didn't price it out, but for this first project concerning recycling, we're going to be purchasing industrial scales so that we can quantify the amount of material being recycled. And additionally, the money would be spent for the materials for the workshops, and also for the rewards at the end of the semester.
You haven't priced that out yet as a total.
No, sir, but it
scales
would be well below $5,000. We don't have any expensive stuff.
Okay, introducing the fifth group of delegates. The fourth, sorry. There's Mariam, Rawan, Dalia, and Rana. Let's give them a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rawan, and these are my teammates, Dalia, Rana, and Mariam. First of all, today, the idea that we are going to be pitching is how to make the students, help them in making a non-toxic, biodegradable liquid soap. The main reason it's for teaching the students the mechanism of how to make this, and for raising the children's awareness about the environmental issues that are going on, and incorporating it into the education, into their classes, making it more interactive for them and more fun. We thought about how this is, like, our main goal is to enable the students to know how to reduce the amount of toxins that are produced by these products, the amount of toxin produced by these products, and the harmful materials that they are going to be exposed to. These are the ingredients that are going to be used. It's like distilled water, essential oils. They're all eco-friendly, green products. And we also managed to find alternatives for all of the products that we're going to be using, just in case if any of the students are allergic to some of the products we initially primarily found. We thought about how the students are we found how the students are going to be excited about this. So,
okay. So we all know how teenagers are hard to convince them to do something new, especially if it's like if you talk to them about environment and big things like that. So we thought of a way that it won't change their whole lifestyle. We're just going to modify their own daily routine, not only to make it healthier for them, but also to make it better for the environment. The first thing we thought about is first to raise their awareness about the liquid soaps that they are already using in their schools. We want to show them the difference between the one they're already using and the one we want them to use, the one that we're going to make them use it and make it every day. So that's why we were planning to make monthly workshops where we, the 4 students who brought up the idea, to go and teach them how to do it and also why. Why are we using these ingredients instead of the ones that are already in the industrial soaps that we find everywhere? We're gonna try to make it part of the curriculum because it is an essential skill that everyone should know and be aware. We're not only gonna tell them that these are toxics, but one of the goals is actually to raise their awareness of the materials that are used in every product they use in their daily life. So like maybe next time they go shopping, they will start asking about what is in the materials and products they're buying, not just buy it because it smells good or because I saw it in some advertisement somewhere. And one of the last things that we're planning also to do to raise that is to make educational videos, which is gonna verify depending on the level we're focusing on, because this project is for the whole school, high school, middle school, and grade 1, grade 2 schools. So we're going to make different videos to suit everyone's age.
And we also thought about the parents being involved, since every student's backbone of changing the way they think is if their parents are involved. Is my dad going to be proud of me for doing this? Is my mom going to come and see my product? So we thought if we involve the parents, they'll be able to encourage the students to change their mindset too. So if we sell the soap to the parents, at various school events, such as at a fundraiser or at a football game, the parents will see the benefits of our soap, and they're inspired their children to change the way they think. Our soap consists of non-toxic, biodegradable materials, and it's safe, and that's why the parents will be encouraged to use it. Also, we're thinking if the parents bought the soap, they'll be implementing it in their own homes, and this way we'll be hitting 2 birds in 1 stone, the school and the students' homes. So this way we'll be affecting a bigger environment. And you're probably thinking, why would I use your soap? Why would I not just go to my loyal brand company, which provides me with good soap and makes my hands clean wherever? We'll tell you why. You probably don't know that the industrial soap you use has a chemical called charclosan. And this chemical affects the human bodies in many ways. First, it kills brain cells, and it causes allergies, and exhausts the human system. And it especially affects the babies and the kids because the kids have such a weak immune system. So if it affects it, they become fatally ill. That's why our soap has no side effects, and it's better than the industrial one. And now she'll talk about the environment impact.
Okay, as you can see, it's not only dangerous for the students' health, but it also have a crazy impact on the environment. The same substance that we just mentioned with this, which is the triclosan, it's been disposed in the lakes and the water, so that right now, especially in America, the fishes have how to say this, their swimming abilities decrease. They cannot swim normally. We've already changed the ecosystem of the lakes in there. Not only that, but also the same substance can actually be using it every time can actually make the bacteria more resistant, and this way we're creating a stronger and stronger bacteria that can resist in the future these kind of soaps. That's why we're trying to use ours. It's not going to make them stronger. They're just going to make them kill them, but not make them stronger.
Feasibility. You're probably asking yourselves, like, is this expensive? Is it going to cost us a lot? No. We estimated that 2 bottles of our soap would cost around 42 dirhams. So that means 857 bottles per year if we're going to use the full $5,000 if we win. And also, the ingredients we have are very accessible. You can get them at the nearest Jam'iyya, Carrefour, anywhere. And the containers that we're going to put the soap is made out of recycled bottles. So it's also helping the environment.
Okay, so I'm glad Rana brought up this point, and also about how the students would wonder why we would want to use the sanitizer instead of using the regular sanitizer. And also another fact about the drug, triclostan. That drug is the most drug found clogging up the sewage pipes and the sewage drainage systems in general, like all around the world. That's the drug that's found because everybody washes their hand and soap has that, and it clogs up. So you might think, how are we going to sell this? First of all, our first aim is not to sell this. Our main aim is to get the students involved in bettering their own environment. Because if you stand in front of the students and tell them, your environment is dying, your water is decreasing, if you tell them scary figures, that just makes them feel guilty. And that just makes them think, I can't do anything to change it. I'm just a little kid. But if you have them actually make this kind of sanitizer and have them see how it immediately affects their environment and have them see how little things can make an impact, I think that that would be more effective in making the students think about the environment and come up with better solutions in the future, because these children are the future. Okay, so our long-term plans are to collaborate. I've talked to Love Local, which is a business consultancy, and they have agreed to help us with financial, economic, and legal aspects, with the figures, with the numbers, because our main goal here is to make the student satisfied and to make the student involved in bettering their environment. Also, we want to maximize the costs and benefits, so as to have money from the $5,000 grant to use for more sales and productions. But like I said, that will come later. The first thing is to have the students make the sanitizers. Later on, we can sell the sanitizers in their soccer games, in their football games. We can sell them at their sports. We also want to seek sponsorships from other companies. We also plan on using the money for advertisement, because advertisement can be very effective, especially if humorous. Possibly start a new patent, the ACS liquid soap, and hopefully we'll see behavioral changes from the parents and students.
As you can, as you can see, these small incremental changes are essential for the students in this environmental awareness journey they're being exposed to. Basically, what we're going with is small changes, big effects. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very curious. What kind of soap does ACS use right now?
Lifebuoy. Well, they do use soap that has triclostan, and that's
the what?
They do use soap that has the drug that clogs
That
up the
has
sewage
that.
system, that gets into the waterways.
Yeah, it's called Lifebuoy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not about which brand use it. It's actually most of the products that we use, like even our toothpaste contain that. And imagine the amount that is absorbed within our teeth. So it's not only that product.
What's the ingredient that sanitizes in your soap? It kills germs or whatever it's supposed to do.
Okay, there is an ingredient called tea tree oil, which is antibacterial, antiseptic, and also antiviral. We're going to do some research to see, we're going to send out forms and things like that to see if any of the students are allergic to it. And if they are, we still have some alternatives like rosemary
We can
oil,
use the
thyme.
coconut oil. It's not only one way we're going to follow. We have like around 3 techniques, and that contains different ingredients. Not only that, the coconut oil, it's not the only one that's antibacterial. A lot of essential oils actually are antibacterial, and at the same time, they're actually good for the skin. Like they moisturize it, they are also anti-aging. So we're not only like looking for one aspect.
And they definitely help, and aloe vera, which definitely helps to reverse the drying effects of alcohol in the skin.
Any further concerns? Okay, thank you.
Okay, introducing our fifth team, we have delegates Charlotte, Wujud, Layal, and Riem.
Green economy, green solution, green schools. All those things have one thing in common, which is the word green. Good evening, honorable judges, our beloved mentors, and ladies and gentlemen. Our main topic, basically our main solution is to build our own Eden, to capitalize on plants. Building our own Eden can also be known by us commoners as building our own green roof. Now, I'm not gonna stand here and say that and claim that green roofs is the newest idea and that we have made it yesterday when we were sitting in the workshop. We did not. However, there's a saying that goes, old is gold. And I see that there's no harm in simplicity. Fact is, plants are the only thing that actually takes all the disadvantages that we humans selfishly produce and give us the good stuff. I can so easily tell you that, oh, there's this machine that can purify the air. There's this that can do this. But this is like slamming a bandage on a wound. You are not healing the wound, you're just delaying the further effect. What we need to do is that come up with a solution that is going to last. Plants, you don't need to think about their maintenance, you don't need to think about them, having to replace the plants every couple of years. You don't have to think about that. Now, our twist about the whole idea of the green roof is that the students, along with us, the Sila delegates, and under a supervision of an expert, are going to build our very own green roof. Now, when you hear the word green roof, you think, okay, so we need cement, we need this, we need that, we need a lot of materials. However, we don't. Now, if you look at this graph over there, we have researched, and it has been possible. We have done it in Egypt. I'm Egyptian, so we have done it in Egypt. And we have done it, and it's been on the internet. There's been a lot of cases in which people said, you know what, I went to the person who builds green roofs, and they were like, give me like really expensive budget. So I made my own green roof, and they shared their expertise with us. Now, this diagram can show you how the different layers that are involved in building a green roof. Now, as you can see, there's the compost, the wood chips, and a lot of things that can be found, around. And that we're basically planning on using recyclable materials and using wastes. Now, the compost, and for example, in this case, we're going to use, instead of using fertilizers, we can use the organic wastes. Now, one of the main concerns when we went to ACS was that the organic waste cannot be recycled technically, and it's thrown and dumped into landfills. In our old school, we had one teacher who used to collect that, and he had his own little garden with the plants and everything. So why can't we apply that? The school already segregates it, so we just have to take it and make it into fertilizers. Simple, easy, and cleaner. So it's like two birds in one, technically speaking. Now, green roofs do not just have practical, environmental, or impacts on the community only. They're also, let me just move on. Now, the key characteristics of the green roof we're speaking about, there are two types. We're focusing on the extensive one because it has a lighter weight and it has low maintenance. And basically, our project is community-oriented and students-oriented. And it's very educational, and it can be implemented easily. Now, if we're going to look at the impacts, the main impact we're going to have is on the students. Now, our main scope is going to be elementary students. If you wonder why, it's because we went to ACS,
Okay, I guess you're wondering why the elementary students. The elementary students are a long-term human investment. We can't grab their attention so easily. They don't have the concerns which is the high school and middle school have, like the finals, the deadlines, and other stuff. You can easily take their attention and convince them to and motivate them to start doing this. Other thing, we got the opportunity to let the parents share this. Usually the elementary students went to the home and go tell their parents what they did in school and other stuff. The parents will know that the school is taking an action about this issue. They will know that the school is teaching their children how to take care of their own environment. We can make an open days, and we can just bring the parents and let the students show them what they plant. we thought about like dividing the roof and the area that we got to like specific areas and give like each class their own area and letting them take care of it. By doing this, we will increase the sense of responsibility in each student, and like there will be more commitment with it. They will like feel like this is their own thing. They will take care of it. This sense of responsibility will go through, will stay with them till the future. They will keep like taking an action, and they will keep taking care of their environment by themselves without like asking them to, without leading them. They will just do it by themselves. Okay. So now we have spoken about why we picked such a scope, but we wanted to show you that this has positive impact on the students who are going to be engaged in such an activity. Now, researchers show that there has been a positive psychological effect on students who are subjected to greeneries. Now, it happens that when you look at a pretty flower, you become happy. That's a fact. When you see something pretty, you become happy. So this can help motivate and send positive vibes to the students, which is something they need to grow up with. Because honestly speaking, we link school to marks, boring, 8 hours a day. So, it helps them. It gives them something to come every day to school for. It's my garden, I can take care of it. Now, we also, as she said, increasing the awareness and the commitment, and we teach them responsibility at such a young age. Not to mention that, yes, the health benefit. Now, researchers assert a recent statistical study shows that 15% of children in the UAE suffer from asthma. More than half of them, 52.8% to be more accurate, have missed school the previous year due to a severe asthma attack. You might think, okay, how is that linked to putting some green stuff on the roof? Well, those green stuff, they reduce the dust distribution, which is shown to be the main trigger for asthma attacks. Also, there's something. Also, can be linked to the academic aspect, because if you don't miss school, you learn. So, also as well, it can be a source of engaging them. Also, we are planning on integrating that into the curriculum. Now, when you say integrating this to the curriculum, we're not going to say we're going to make the curriculum bigger or adding more marks or anything. No. When we were in elementary school, we used to have to bring a cotton, put some water, and put a seed and watch it grow. After it grows, you throw it away. It's a fact. We've all done it, and we're all guilty on here. So instead of that, they are going to plant their own garden. They are going to watch a whole garden grow. So instead of doing it in a classroom or taking it home with them, they're going to watch a garden grow. They're going to be responsible for a garden and the living things growing in it. So you're wondering, like we're forgetting about the other student, the middle and the high school. No, we didn't. Actually, we was planning like to get them involved by mentoring them after training them and letting them mentoring the elementary students and their service hour. As they know, they have like service hour. So my friend Charlotte will explain more about it.
Okay, everyone. So this is our mentorship program. Now, it's all very well to start off with all these technical projects, all of these abstract environmental concepts, but what we really want to do is remember that this is a school, and what we want to be doing with this school is fostering engagement between every level of the community and between Sila Connection itself. So we have this program, which I am really passionate about, called Training the Trainers. And what will happen essentially is that we, if selected as delegates, for this program, will be working with both the ACS teachers and the middle and high school students, whom, as Reem already mentioned, can be given service hour credits for this kind of program, which is a system we will be adding to already in place at ACS. One of the really big benefits of this is that it creates a chain effect. So the middle and high school students and, of course, the teachers will then go on to implement this as a program and teach the elementary students environmental awareness. One of the absolute best things about this program is that the elementary school, I have to be quick, but the elementary school students now will become the middle and high school students within this chain who are mentoring for years and frankly for decades of environmental awareness beyond this point. So we just want to stress also the citywide and in fact worldwide benefits to this program in that we will be increasing the longevity of the building itself. Studies have shown that green roofs can double the longevity of the majority of given buildings, and insulation is something which will help reduce the electricity bills, which we know was a concern within ACS. In the city as a whole, we have there are many studies which have shown that the electromagnetic radiation, which is caused by laptops, mobiles, and such, can be reduced by up to 99.4% just by having a green roof. It also green roofs contribute to the urban heat island effect, which I think we're a bit pressed for time, but essentially is a serious concern in major cities. It can help reduce smog and dust distribution. And just one final point, we have to remember that this is not just something that can happen in ACS. Once the environmental program is implemented, people will be inspired to implement this program citywide, worldwide.
Okay, now one of the main problems are plants. We're thinking about also water conservation. Therefore, the plants that we've picked are these, which are the Nafal plant, the Kusama plant, the Hawa, and the Bispas plant. Now, these plants are local and native UAE plants. Therefore, we're not just using plants that are used to the humid and the hot weather, so there's no need for for much water, but they also absorb the humidity as for water, and now the Hawa plant can be used for food. Nafla and Kusama can be used for instead of air fresheners, which are made of chemicals, and they have really nice smell. And the Bispas plant is used for medical purposes, so we can ask people from the Zayed Health Center to come and give lectures about this.
I think the slide before had the cost.
Yes.
Can you give us that?
Of course.
Okay, I have to say something first. These costs are completely preliminary for now because there's some stuff that need to be taken into consideration first. Sorry?
I don't know, are wood chips readily available here? I mean, are they very expensive because they have to be imported, or do they just use...
that's expensive.
I guess they use the old...
And we're planning on
palm
using
trees,
already wood chips, but this is just in case needed.
Pond liner.
And we did take into account the structure of the school and that we would not need to build anything such as, for example, we talked to the ACS students and found that there were already staircases up to the roofs because we thought that could be a potentially create a very high budget. And overall, we found that it was a very sustainable, very viable project in that way.
Okay, and the pond liner is...
It's just in the occasional cases it rains here.
Okay, you're going to have a pond up as part of your garden.
No, this is to insulate against any water damage.
Okay.
To protect the roof.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. The next team of delegates. Aswai, Mu'mina, Fatima, and Riem.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Song Yoon Kim. These are my colleagues, Reem, Fatima, and Momina. And today we'll be presenting to you a project that we have developed, a project that establishes the sense of solarization in the school of ACS. Before we start, we'd like to give a quick overview of what we'll be presenting about in this presentation. First, we'll be talking about the field trip that we had, the trip we had to the ACS school, and really build a context for this presentation, why we came to the idea of solarization in the first place. Then we'll be talking about solar energy in two parts, solar heating and solar windows. Then we'll be talking about benefits and costs. And lastly, but probably most importantly, we'll be talking about how the community is going to be engaged, as those will be the critical factors in changing the mindset of the community. So in the Sila packets that we received a Venn diagram with three subcomponents: student performance and well-being, greater environmental literacy, and resource efficiency and lower carbon footprint. These were the sub-targets that we had to accomplish to really get the central idea of green building improvements. We felt that the ACS school was doing a great job with the first circle, which is why the circle is probably more green. But we'll be focusing on the two bottom circles, greater environmental literacy and resource efficiency and lower carbon footprint. Fatima will then talk about how we came to the idea of solarization in the first place.
Now, last week we visited the ACS campus, and the Eco Club gave us a tour around the school's campus. Now, we went through areas that needed improvement in ways that are related to water, electricity, and recycling. Now, the school was kind enough to allow us to take a look at the school's electricity and water bills. And as we studied the data sheet, we noticed that the electricity bills were way higher than the water bills. So we thought it would make sense, if you wanted to make the greatest impact, that we focus on the electricity side of this problem. Now, there is a fact that 72% of a normal house's electricity usage is dedicated to heating systems. So that kind of encouraged us into considering making changes to the heating system of the school, which includes the pool area and the gym area. Now, as we looked at the data sheet, we noticed that the new gym meter was really high, as you can see here. The cost reached to 23,000 to more than 30,000 dirhams per month. So to fix that problem, we came up with the idea of making solar energy heating systems for the pool and for the showers that are in the gym.
One thing to quickly add, this data sheet has been extremely valuable to us because it would serve as an indicator in how well we'd be doing with our project.
Basically, we're dividing our project in two phases, the solar heating and solar windows. Now, when we talk about solar energy, what comes in mind is solar panels. But let's look at further. We have a lot of sunlight in Abu Dhabi. We live here, and there's sunlight every time, honestly. So our sub-target is resource efficiency and lower the carbon footprint. So how can we use our resources? Obviously, the sun's energy. Why do we burn fossil fuels to heat up a pool? Why do we do that? We shouldn't do that. So therefore, we created a system which is solar flat panels. We're not using, let's keep in mind, we're not using panels here, we're using flat plates. So they have a metal surface, they collect the water, and they absorb it. We're not using any electricity to charge up the panels. Panels take up a lot of spaces on the roofs. They cost a lot. They're not really efficient because it needs a lot of maintenance. For the flat plates, there are pumps, and these pumps have sensors. And as soon as the desired temperature is reached for the water, they switch off. And you don't need any supervision for it. So this is how it works, and it has, again, as I said, it collects the water, it heats it up, and gives it back. Now, it can also be used to cool up the water. It works both ways. At night, it collects the water, since it's reversed at night, and then it returns the water back. Second phase is solar windows. Now, these solar windows, they work in two ways. They absorb and they reflect. So they reflect the infrared light, but they transmit the visible light. Now, these have photosensitizers, and they harness the electrons, and they generate electricity. So this is basically a bonus idea for project. It's targeting a lot of systems as well. As extra energy is produced, it can be used for other parts of the school.
There's a lot of benefits of solar energy. So basically, as my colleague said, we have from 10 to 15 hours a day sunlight. So why don't we use that to our advantage? So we have infinite sunlight, it's clean, it's safe, and it's renewable. So as my colleague said, we have two phases. So we planning to do a self-sufficient system. How? We're using the electricity from the solar windows. We can use it to heat up, to power the only component that needs electricity, which is the pump for the solar heat. So like that, the pool starts to power itself by itself. It doesn't need anyone to supervise it and so on. And this could be the first step for the ACS to develop a self-sufficient system, so it does not use any external source for energy. Whenever you hear solar energy, you think of solar panels, but that wasn't the direction we wanted. We wanted a different direction, change the opinion of people when they think of solar energy. So we thought of the flat plates. They don't need maintenance other than while the solar panels need. The solar panels, the problem is you can have dust on them, and as I said, expensive. But these don't need any maintenance. So costs. The solar heater itself is not very expensive. What will cost us is implementing it into the system and the plumbing. So an estimation was $3,200, including the engineering and the plumbing of the system. And after looking at the electrical bills, it will save around $600 per month. And after five and a half months, that's when the ACS will start to profit from the system. And from the $5,000 that's left, we would use that for our second phase, which is the solar windows.
So to clarify, the $600 a month savings, once the return on investment happens, it will also go into the solar windows.
You can see the pool and the gym are next to each other, and that's where we want to put the solar heating system, so we can heat up not only the pool, but the showers. And the solar windows will also be installed in the gym for now, but later on, when the ACS sees how effective the solar windows and how much they can gain from the electricity, they can invest more into putting it across the school, lobbies, and so on. And now I'll leave you with SY.
So finally, I'll be talking about how the community is going to be involved in this project. I believe that this is probably the most vital aspect of the project, and this is because, going back to the Venn diagram, we would like to accomplish green building improvements. Momina, a while ago, talked about resource efficiency and lower carbon footprint. Now I'll be addressing greater environmental literacy, both for the school ACS and the members of it. So to begin, I would like to introduce the iceberg model. We can tell the students of ACS what to do, what not to do, what is environmental and what is not environmental, but we have to go deeper. Why do students feel like sustainability is a negative thing? Why do students feel lazy in acting towards sustainability? We wanted to go deeper into the consciousness of the individuals at ACS and tackle the systemic structures and mental models of the individuals. So firstly, we have the pedagogical effects of the projects. The pedagogical effects of the projects for both the solar windows and the solar heaters could be that you have potential classes there with physics classes, learning about how renewable energy works. More specifically, solar energy is not limited to solar panels, and so students would get first-hand experience in learning how solar heaters work before it is implemented and as it runs. The students would also feel like they're a part of it, feeling analysis. The students will actually feel like they have ownership in the project, and so the pedagogical effects is great. Next, we would like to suggest a website widget on the ACS channel that students and teachers access daily. On this widget would be data regarding energy consumption, daily energy consumption, energy saved with the solar windows, money that is saved. And this data would be displayed not only on a daily basis, but on a cumulative basis so that students can see fluctuations or trends in the data. By having students and teachers see this data every single day when logging onto their channel, it would seep into their consciousness and therefore tackle the lower parts of the iceberg that I've mentioned earlier. Lastly, curriculum development through professional development. We believe that to ensure the pedagogical effects are in place, the curriculum must include solarization as an idea. We're not asking for radical changes in the curriculum, but rather only to have solarization as one of the main ideas that drive home the curriculum at ACS. We believe that if the teachers have ownership of the curriculum and the teachers have ownership of the project that is part of the curriculum now, teachers would feel much more passionate and teach more passionately, and hence, from a top to bottom process, students would feel that way too. As a result, the entire community would feel like they have much more ownership of the project, and the community would step forward into acting for sustainability. So going back to the Venn diagram, as I've mentioned earlier, ACS has done a great job with the first circle on the top, but now we have addressed greater environmental literacy and resource efficiency and lower carbon footprint. We believe that having targeted the mental models of the school students, we have ensured that mindset shifts have occurred. As they say, the future of solar energy and ACS is as clear as solar windows. Thank you for listening.
Yes. Does the cost of the solar heater include the solar plates?
Yes.
Okay, so $3,200 gets you both the heater and the plates. Okay, what is the price of a solar window?
So the solar windows have a film coating which acts as the photovoltaic cells. Okay. And the prices, it's very recently introduced to the market, and so there aren't that many prices available, but articles suggest that the prices go for 100 square meter of the photovoltaic films, it's in the magnitude of $300 to $400, I believe. And okay. So the 100 square meters should be able to provide enough electricity. 1 square meter, research suggests that it provides 44 watts. And so having a lot of that would be very beneficial.
Thank you.
Okay, so introducing our 7th team. Delegates Fisher, Hind, Dana, Zoha, and Bayan.
Good evening, everyone. We are Team Soraya, and we have a question to ask. So, have you ever seen a group of plastic bottles and cups and plates skipping a rope? I'm sure the answer to this question is no. However, our recycling project, named Roll a Goal, is inspired from this idea. Our main target is the middle school students and the elementary students. And the main mission or the main goal that we have is to enrich the interpersonal skills students have, like cooperation, creativity, responsibility, and independence. And now my teammate Fisher will talk about our project.
So, can we go down? Sorry about the technical problem. Okay, anyway, so speaking about the jumping rope, our inspiration comes from that. And imagine you're in the gym and you had this rope. When you jump, it counts. And at the end, you know how many jumps you have did. And this is the same idea. When you attach the the meter to this flipper, and whenever you throw your the recycled bottles or plastic bottles or cans into it, it flips. And then there is one count. And at the end of the week, you will have a visualization of how many bottles you collected. And because we're targeting at younger students, we want to make it interactive and fun. The way we did it is instead of creating a boring recycling bin, we would like to create into a basketball loop, and students, young kids, are able to throw or toss their bottles far away, and it becomes a competition between them. And the fact that children are very into playing those games, they will go around the campus or around the school to collect bottles, which is not recycled. And the second element that will be loved by the kids is that the recycling bin does not come as one bin. It comes
in different components. And with the guidance of the students, guidance of the green teams, teachers, and high school students, the younger kids are able to assemble the recycling bin themselves. And they are actually engaging in the recycling, the whole process of recycling. And now we have those bottles. How are we going to deal with them? And my teammates, Dana, will talk about it.
We're going to be collecting the bottles and the plastic cups on a weekly basis. However, of course, we know that they will be full of food and juice. So the thing is, we're trying to encourage students to clean them with the AC water, and then we're recycling again, and before putting them in that bin that they designed. And by that, we're encouraging them to become independent and responsible, since students here are usually used for other people in doing their jobs, instead of doing their own jobs.
So one of the short-term projects that we could do with the kids, it's the vertical wall garden, where we can interact the kids to use the recycled items like cans, water bottles, or plastic cups to create something beautiful, a beautiful image and green touch. So all they have to do is just to add soil and the plants. And for the watering system, we can do the drop water system, where we can create a hose in the lid and just place it above the plants. After a while, we know that the plastics sometimes get damaged due to the sun and the humidity we have. So we could replace those to another new recycles. Also, as we know that plants like grow over time, so we could take those plants and just move them to the garden in the school and just plant new ones. So Hind will elaborate more on the second project.
All right. Yeah, okay. So another solution, another small project we are going to implement is to use the plastic bottles instead of the dual flushing system. Dual flushing system is a system that can save the water. So what we are going to do is that we are going to collect the plastic bottles. We know that the school is free plastic. However, during weekends they do a lot of activities, and during these activities they use a lot of plastic bottles. So in order to recycle these plastic bottles, we are going to collect them, fill them with sand, and then we will put them in the toilet tank. This actually will increase the level of the toilet, the level water of the toilet. However, it will save the water around 1 to 2 gallons. So in this case, we are trying to save the water and to recycle the plastics. So once we are done with these projects, our leadership will start. And here we are going to educate students. We'll tell them how to recycle. We'll brainstorm their ideas in order to come up with creative ideas. This actually will enhance and improve their creativity and as well as their critical thinking. What else? Okay, and we suggest that these activities should be part of the art classes. Now let's talk about the cost and the long-term effect.
Yeah, so honestly, our project is like costless. Like it's nothing. You need like a rope, counting rope for the roll the goal recycling bin. It's like 20 counting ropes is about like $20 to $28. We need like a bag of soil. It's like $10 to $15. And of course, the plants that we're gonna use is plants that grow in desert, so it can adjust and adapt the environment here. This is some types of plants that could grow in deserts. And the most important thing in our project that we really think about is long-term impact. So we're really looking for long-lasting and sustainable project, not just for a year or for, just like a short-term project. So mainly, we're gonna reducing waste. Secondly, after the students apply their projects in their school, so they will really enjoy it, they like it, so they're gonna try to apply it in home. And this is the role of the parents. Parents will start engaging in the project. Second thing, students may come up with new ideas, like start to build their own roll the goal recycling bin using waste that they used in the last weeks. Thirdly or fourthly, students also may come up with new ideas and using the plastic bottles and containers. Also, they're gonna, for the future term impact, we may like set a certain percentage for the recycling and reusing. Like we'll start recycle and reuse in the school. And finally, students will start like really looking for reducing the waste in the future, because we're gonna do like some competitions for the classes with the least waste in their classes. So they may start bring their own containers from their homes to instead of using like the containers from the cafeteria, and like refilling every day. And to conclude, we mainly covered very important values to this school. So the values are aesthetical, economical, and ecological values, and also social values. And we hope that the green message will be delivered to ACS school. Thank you.
So now we're down to our final team, delegates Aisha, Hajira, and Tyler.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aisha, and my teammates are Tyler and Hajar. And today we're going to talk about the green schools in Abu Dhabi. We have three concepts that we're focusing on, which are that we think are important, which is cooperation, environmental empathy, and sustainability. And through our presentation, you will see how this supports our project.
All right, there once again. Once upon a time, there were students wasting water resources and energy resources, of course, unconsciously in schools. So I would like you to imagine, I would request you to imagine that you go into a school and you find a green garden. Well, it's not a new idea anymore then. Thank you for telling us the local plans, and thank you, Wujud, for telling us the psychological impacts, the positive ones, of course. So we would like to introduce a green plant in the green garden, of course the garden are green in any way, into the school. The purpose of it will be to teach the students about the native plants. They should know what is the local kind of plants that grow in this particular kind of temperature. Of course, this will last for a day, for days, weeks, months. In order to make it sustainable, we need to include it into the curriculum of the students. Now, how we are going to introduce it into the curriculum of the student is the grade 9 and 10th in the school, we visited them and we got their feedback, is that they do need biology. And they do need the plant materials for their experiments. So this thing is required. Another thing for the younger students, it can serve them to grow new plants in the garden. So if this becomes part of their curriculum, this is something sustainable. And they can learn about the green gardens, its benefits, which I wouldn't go through it because you already know that. So the potential area we chose for it is next to the elementary school. It was decided once we had the feedback from the students. They preferred this position the most, but it's a potential place. Of course, Taylor will be talking about the composite area. I don't need to talk about it now. Finally, we need to fence it. Fence it and shade it. With what? With plum nets or grooves or whatsoever. In Arabic, we call it a reach maybe. So the point we are using this material and not something else is that these leaves of plant tree are known to reduce the evaporation by 47%, which is something we do need because they already had a garden which contained the non-local plants which consume a lot of water. So if we introduce the local plants, that will reduce the water, as well as we are introducing something easily available, the plum leaves or the nets or the groove. Taylor will go ahead.
So because of budgeting, we weren't able to fully bring this idea into fruition, but we thought we'd toss it out in case there was extended budgeting. If we had more funding, we would like to create this garden next to the elementary school into a greenhouse. And so we do this fairly cheaply by creating walls, translucent walls on the sides and the top about 2 meters high. Now in this greenhouse, we would be able to quantifiably measure the amount of pollutants, dust, and temperature inside the greenhouse and outside the greenhouse to empirically show the students real time through an app how much of an effect the native plants have and how much planting has on the air quality and the health of the students. So I'd like you to imagine a world where students learn environmental empathy and understand the true value of water. 2 years ago, I lived in India, in northern India, where every day we'd wake up and we'd have to hike 2 miles to a hand pump well. We would pump this well for 20 minutes to fill up these buckets that you can see in the picture behind me. After going through this experience, when I went back to the United States, I never left the faucet on. I never took long showers because I understood how much energy went into moving the water and how precious water truly is. And so we are proposing to add a water tank and a pump to the garden so that the students can hand pump in their own water so that they can learn about conservation. We also believe that, especially for younger kids, experiential learning is key. And so this hand pump would give them hands-on experience. It would also save the energy normally needed, perhaps for sprinklers. And it can be used in curriculum for not just water usage, but also for mechanical engineering and for experiencing what it's really like for some people who live in remote areas in third world countries. I'd also like you to envision a world where food waste turns into food for plants and kids can learn about sustainability and reusing our materials. So we are proposing compost bins in the unused section of the middle school playfield, which the ACS students told us would be a great place for these compost bins. We would like to take these scraps of food, which are currently being thrown away, into the landfill, and we'd like to compost them in these compost bins. We would also be able to integrate this into 9th and 10th grade lab work so that the students, the high school students, could examine what happens on the chemical, biological, and molecular level when things biodegrade.
Finally, the students will appreciate their limited resources and will make the best usage out of it. Okay, so our total cost, as you can see, the resource cost will be as estimated $4,800, and specifying that the garden will be $2,000, the fence and shading $1,300. The composite pens, each pen will cost $100. The hand pump $1,300, and for the 11th and 12th graders, there will be beside their eco club, there will be fundraising in case they need extra money for fixing or repairing the material that will be in the project. And in conclusion, we will create a sustainable learning environment and impacting the next generation and future. And as you can see, it's a feasible project which will take construction for 2 months only, which seems possible and doable. Thank you for listening.
Did you think about converting the current garden?
That is what we're doing. Near the elementary school, there is a flower patch, a large patch, that is currently using a lot of water. And the students from ACS told us it had fallen almost into disrepair, and the only people who are using it are the gardeners. And so we are going to convert that.
Interacting with that plants or...
I think it's great you thought about upkeep. just have a question about the pump. The students are going to be pumping water from where to where?
They will be pumping from a water container. Right, so we're going to use irrigation water to fill this water tank. We're not talking about pumping in, but we're going to fill that water tank. And the nice thing about the hand pump is that it's enough work so that students aren't going to just pump extra water out. They'll pump what they need.
They're pumping the water in the garden then?
Into a bin, and then they can water the garden.
So mainly to experience how hard it is.
Right,
to go, yeah.
it's pretty tough.
Yeah. More questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.